Hi there. Today we're going to work a little bit on how to find the least common denominator. First of all, why in the world would you want to do something crazy like this? Well, when we're adding fractions or subtracting fractions, that's why. Okay? We can't add or subtract fractions without having a common denominator. Here's when we're not going to do this. We're not going to do it if we're multiplying or dividing. No. Okay, only for adding or subtracting. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's first of all review the parts of a fraction. The numerator over the denominator. So, for example, 1/3, 1 is the numerator, 3 is the denominator. Okay, now let's take a little sample problem here, give you an idea of what we're talking about. So let's say we're adding 1/4 plus 1/6. Okay, a common denominator versus the least common denominator, or the lowest one, the smallest one.
If you're on the safety committee, today is our last safety committee meeting of the year. We will commence in 7 minutes in the comments. Safety committee.
Love that. Love those announcements for meetings, especially when I'm not on the safety committee. Awesome. Okay. Anyway, common denominator. Here's what a lot of people do on a problem like this. They'll go, oh, 4 times 6 is 24. Yay! Okay, now that is a common denominator, but it is not the least common denominator. We need to find the smallest common denominator. And here's what I think is the easiest way to do that. Okay? Make a table. Make a table. Not out of wood and nails and screws, but out of numbers. Our table is going to show how many of each denominator. I'm going to call these D1 and D2. So for example, denominator 1, denominator 2, which I got right there. Okay, and then how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you do have to know how to count by numbers. You need to know your multiples. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I'm just going to rattle off a few of them. And on the second one, we're going to stop when we find one that matches. Stop when you find a match. 6, 12, 8. Whoa, stop. Okay? Stop when you find a match. Stop when you find a match. Okay? And that match, 12 in this case, that's the LCD. That's the lowest common denominator. Okay? So now we're going to finish the problem. Once you find that common denominator, we need to go back and add those fractions. Okay? So 1/4. We're going to use what's called a giant 1. You might call it something else, a multiplier. Okay? For the 4s, how many did it take? 1, 2, 3. It took 3 of them, right? And for the 6, how many of those did it take? It took 2 of those. Okay. 1 times 3, 4 times 3. 2 times 1, 2 times 6. Look, we have the least common denominator right there. This makes this so easy. Once you have it, you're just going to put it over there, and there's our answer. 5/12. 1/4 plus 1/6 is 5/12. Now, I'm almost out of room on this page, but something that's kind of cool, that's important that I want you to get here is why do we even need why in LCD? Here's why. It changes a fraction problem into not a fraction problem. Did you see how that happened there? Once we found this, that number just kind of sits there on the bottom, and all we really had to do was 3 plus 2 equals 5, which anybody could do that, right? Come on. So that's the best reason to find a least common denominator, is so you can take that fraction problem that you don't like and make it into not a fraction problem that you do like. Okay, so let's review our steps. First of all, it's only for adding and subtracting. Numerators on top, denominators on the bottom. A common denominator you can always find just by multiplying the denominators, but that's not always the lowest one. Sometimes it is, but this time it was not. Okay? So, the way to make sure you got the smallest one, make a table, count how many of each denominator it takes, stop when you get a match, of course, and then finally use a giant 1 or use that multiplier. That's how many 4s, and this was how many 6s. Okay? That's where that number came from. That's how we magically changed the 1/4 and the 1/6 into 3/12 and 2/12. Actually, it's not magic. And then finally, our problem really is just 3 plus 2 equals 5. So nice. Hey, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more exciting videos with fractions. Bye.